Hi, this is Kate with Cake Parenting, and today we're going to talk about flying with baby because we often get asked questions about tips or strategies or hints on best practices on flying with baby in an airplane. So in some ways, traveling with a smaller child, a few months old, is actually a lot easier than flying with them when they get older. My pediatrician even said when my son was 4 months, go for it now because it's only going to get harder. So definitely it can be done safely. Most people will say that even if baby's a few weeks old, it's actually safe to fly with them. And it's obviously up to your discretion. Of course, it is a germy atmosphere being on an airplane and being in an airport. So you do have to use your common sense practices. So we'll start with that. Common sense practices during flight travel and airplanes and airports and traveling in general are really really important. So what we want to talk about there is basically wiping everything down that you see. Your little one is going to be touching things and putting their hands in their mouth at some point, which is why when they're younger it's easier. When they're just happy to be contained on you and not reaching out to everything, that's much easier. But when they're not, then it's important to just take a look. Sit down and you're wiping everything around you. When you get on the plane, that means the seats, the tray tables, be sure that you look up and wipe above you, the lights, the call buttons, and all those things. You will be touching them and you will be touching your baby. So the concerning thing here is obviously big illnesses. We want to avoid flu, we want to avoid pertussis. We want to avoid big illnesses that we can receive by being in that close contact. So anything you do common sense practice wise, keeping them kind of shielded from neighboring people next to you, keeping yourself clean, your hands washed, and your area clean is really important. A couple other tips. When you're on the plane, one thing that my husband and I learned the hard way is be sure that you have toys or things that are gonna clip to you, because the airplane floor is one of the dirtiest things I can imagine. So once it goes down there, it's no longer a usable toy for me on my trip. So, anything like that clips to your stroller, you can clip to your shirt, clip to your baby carrier, teething necklaces, anything like that. It's gonna be much easier than toys that are free to fall on the floor. Another tip is I find it the easiest to travel through the airport and through security, etc., with the baby carrier. Now you will have to take it off through security, but shortly after you can put it right back on. So actually wearing your child for me is much easier because then you have hands to do things. Also on that note, wearing a backpack opposed to like a shoulder bag that you usually use as a diaper bag, backpacks are much easier. And a backpack's also gonna fit nicely under the seat in front of you. In that backpack, of course, you'll have diapers. One source I read even said that you need a diaper for every hour of travel. That seems a lot to me. Maybe you don't need that many. But the idea is that you become over-prepared because you never know and you don't want to be stuck on an airplane in need of a diaper. So you'll have diapers in that bag, at least 2 changes of outfits, some layers in case it gets warm or cold. And definitely keep those change of outfits underneath you in the plane. Don't put them in the overhead compartment. My son was on about 8 flights before he was 5 months, and he definitely had some moments where we needed to change him and he had a wet outfit and we couldn't get up because there was some turbulence and they were really strict about us not getting out of the seat. So we were really happy that we had the change of clothes right underneath us at our feet. Something else to consider is you're going to likely check something plane side. You might check a stroller or a car seat plane side, and where you're carrying it through the airport and then you're dropping it right at the gate there. They sell really neat bags. They're basically nylon sacks and they are really durable, and you just throw in your equipment, your gear, and then you drop that plane side with a name tag. The beauty of that is, we all know that airlines can be a little bit rough on our luggage and things. So really to protect and also to keep clean your car seats and things of that nature, purchasing a big sort of inexpensive, I think they're like 15 bucks or so, $15 to $30. Purchasing a big sack or 2 is really gonna help to keep those clean and in one piece, hopefully, when you arrive where you're going. Speaking of babies' ears, we're always worried about our ears popping, and you think of our little ones that don't have as much control over that. One thing to consider is that the descent or the landing is actually the most important time to make sure your baby is sucking, swallowing something. Of course, it's ideal when you're taking off and when you're landing to have them sucking or swallowing. Feeding is best, so from a bottle or nurse them. But again, if you have to choose, if you have a really short flight, for example, which we've had a few of, the descent is the most important time. Be sure that your baby is sucking, swallowing, eating during that time. Stay healthy yourself, definitely, get your flu shot, keep your immunizations up to date, because you are the easiest way to transmit, yucky bacteria and viruses to your little one, since they're always in your arms. And try to get some sleep yourself, because it's a little more exhausting to travel with an infant than it is to solo travel. So try to get some rest the night before and the days coming up to it. Those are some tips for travel, and I wish you happy, safe flights. And I think traveling with baby can be a really fun thing and something that a lot of us have to do. Don't worry if your baby's crying. It won't last forever. Try your best to soothe them, calm them, play with them, feed them. And if they cry a little bit, then it's a good exercise in patience for the rest of the plane. Don't beat yourself up. Fly with your baby if you have to and enjoy the experience. I'd love to hear your feedback, your comments. Shoot me an email, tweet at me at Cake Parenting, Facebook me, and we look forward to seeing you next time.